All right, good afternoon, everyone. Steve Edwards here with Premier Virtual. We are excited to get this webinar started. I'm just going to give it 1 minute till we can get a couple other people logged in, and then we will get started.
Welcome, everybody. If anyone has any questions throughout the duration of this webinar, please feel free to put them in the chat. We will answer them as they come in. Appreciate you all giving us your time.
All right, we will get started here. Like Zach's favorite line that I say that he couldn't use the other day is, I'm an Army guy, so I like to get started on time. Again, my name is Steve Edwards, the CEO here at Premier Virtual. We have Zach, who is our Director of Business Solutions, and John is our Director of Marketing that is going to be here. So if you have any questions, please send them in the chat and they can answer all of your questions on here. So unfortunately, one of the panelists that was going to be on here today could not make it today. So today I'm going to kind of talk about what school districts are doing, how they're doing it, and then show you how your peers out in the out there in the world are using virtual to really help them. So the good thing here about Premier Virtual is we are a virtual platform. We've powered over 7,000 virtual hiring events. We work with workforce development boards, school districts, colleges, private companies to really help drive traffic to an event and host the event. So not only can we host the event, is we can help you drive traffic to that event as well. So if anybody has any questions on marketing, how we do it, what we do it, I'm going to get to that kind of towards the end of the webinar so that you can really see, what it can do to help you. And this is what I tell everybody is I put on in-person job fairs for 9 years before I got into the virtual space. And I was doing events in different cities around the country, traveling a lot. It was pre-wife, pre-kids. And I just didn't want to be on the road once I got married and had kids. And in 2018, virtual kind of came in and we started doing virtual before virtual was really a very popular thing. Now, we all know since 2020, virtual has really taken off. And if you're on this call here, you're one of three things. You're either, hey, I love virtual. We've done virtual. We're looking to figure out how it can help us more. The second is you're kind of in between saying, I still like my in-person, but I like virtual. Or it'd be surprised if some, but there could be some people on here that are just very, very anti-virtual. And we have these people, and I understand that. And a lot of people say, Steve, you're the CEO of a tech company that runs virtual event. You must only like virtual. And here's a big surprise. I love in-person events. My team knows I love networking events. I love conferences. I go there. I'm a shake your hand, look in your eye type of person. I believe there's a place for in-person. I believe there's a place for virtual. The reason I kind of got into as well as I want to travel is I looked at the market and what was going on within my industry. And I said, people would rather apply online than wait in line. And now it's easier access for people to get the virtual than it is in person. Sometimes they just can't make it to an in-person event. Maybe they're working, maybe they had a transportation issue that day. Maybe they had some other issue that they couldn't get a sitter or anything like that as well. So this is where in-person can come. But the great thing about Premier Virtual, and I will show you as well, is that you can have hybrid events. So when you have a hybrid event, that means you can have your in-person event. Those people that want to come face-to-face, meet the people, that's great. They're there for you. But the people that can't want to go to virtual, you're there. And your ideal goal when you're creating an event out there is, I don't want to leave anybody out. If you only go virtual, you're going to leave some people out. If you only go in person, you may leave somebody out. But if you then put both in, you can now get everybody. Now, some events may be only in person. Some events may only be virtual. And we'll see. I'm going to show you an event. This was not done by a school district, but I'll show you the event that was done by one of our clients that they did a workshop a week. They did all workshops. The next week they did a virtual job fair, and the week after they did an in-person job fair. So they wanted to make sure that the people were trained, getting them ready, and then getting them jobs. But not only are people using Premier Virtual or virtual platforms out there for just job fairs to hire teachers, is you can now do internship expos for your students. You can have keynote speakers for your students. So there's so many more things that you can do than just host job fairs. So I'm going to share my screen here and go over just some of the organizations and kind of how they use the platform. So you can really see it's not just Steve Edwards telling you, hey, this is something great for you. This is how your peers are using it, using technology to drive traffic to your events, to get the hires that you're looking for. And I will tell you that hiring teachers is a big passion for me. My wife was a school teacher for 10 years before we had our first son. So she was there. She taught second and fourth grade. And then once I like to call it the retired teacher when we had kids, is she went back in and she mentors new teachers. So the program here at FAU, where they mentor new teachers coming out of college to put them right into the classroom, she mentors new teachers. So she's still in the classroom, still has a lot to do with that. So this is a passion for mine, if you can tell. So this is Atlanta Public Schools. When they did their job fair, you can see here they had their in-person booth. So they had a booth where people could come into. So it would come in here so people could come in. They could see the elementary school positions and they could see which schools they were hiring for. And then they had their virtual booths. So here, they had their in-person only at the elementary school, so people could come in, see the schools, see the information there. But now they can also go into the virtual and click on the middle schools, click on a middle school, come in here, click on the job postings, and they could see the different teachers that they were hiring for. So now a potential teacher could come in here, click on this, look at the job description, and submit the resume. So now I'm not going to submit my resume to this, but you can see it's very easy. Now, here's the great thing too about this is you see there's a resume here, or I could upload another one. If this was my dream job and I really wanted it, and I wanted to add a cover letter specifically for them, I could add that right here as well. So not only it's one resume, they could have another one. You know, maybe they have a teacher resume, but maybe they have a leadership resume as well. And maybe there's some other information, or maybe they have, you know, a chorus resume, and then they have a drama resume. They could have both their resumes and choose where they want it to go. So they don't just have to have one generic resume that's in here. You know, and then again, they can go back to all the other schools. They could come back in here, look at the high schools. And again, you can see all the schools, you see all the information about him. Now, this one, you see, they did not have any of their jobs listed in here. So you can see it's very easy access to get to it. You know, here's another one. This is Revere Public Schools. So what they had here, again, they had their elementary schools, high schools. And if you see, this is all customizable. From the graphic up here, what you want them to see, all the way down here to the schools. And once they come in here, they can have here. Now, what the great thing here is you see, this is a really good booth where a candidate can come in, see about the middle school, say, oh, okay, this is interesting. I could click here if I want to go to that link. These are all customized booths. I can see the job postings right here, submit my resume. But what's great about Premier Virtual too is if I'm that job seeker, and I think of that in-person line as I'm a candidate and I'm waiting in line for 10 minutes to speak with a recruiter. Well, what we have, and this is called Book a Time with the Recruiter. I like to call it skip the line, is where they could come in, and if they had this event's over, so it's not there, but if they had book a time with a recruiter, they could choose a time right here and book a specific time to know, hey, I'm speaking with this school at this time. So they're now getting that one-on-one time directly with that recruiter. They can always come in, they can always chat with the schools as well. And I'm going to get into that just a little bit later. But if you can see here, they could come in and go to all of these different, you know, special education department, and they could come right in here and do this, right? Book a time with the recruiter. So they could go into every one of the school districts, book a time with a recruiter, and then they would never have to wait in line. So that candidate could come in at 9 o'clock in the morning, book their times, and be done by 10:30, depending on how many schools that is. It makes it efficient for these job seekers as well as the recruiters, just because of this book a time directly with the recruiter. Now, here was an event that, again, that was just like some of the other ones where they had the lobby here. They left it a little bit more plain, but they came in, they could click on the school and then click on each one of the schools directly in here. If you see, there's a lot of different boosts that's in here, so they can kind of customize it however they want to be able to do that. This was actually yesterday. So this is great. These next 4 events all were yesterday. So if you see, this is kind of a hot topic right now. It's there. School districts are using it specifically to drive different things. So if you see here, this was Sarah. This was South Carolina statewide event. They had middle school. So they had all the middle schools within here. So they could come, directly in here, see the job postings and go right here. Now, what you see here is there's not a thing that says book a time with the recruiter. Each company can choose, do they want to have it as an open job fair to just have candidates come in and start chatting directly, or do they want them to book times? Again, it's customizable all the way down to the organization of what they want them to see. So kind of a quick pause while we're looking at this is there any questions out there so far of what you're seeing? All right. Next thing we got is, these are for, teacher certifications where they could come in and they could apply directly to certifications. So if you see, it's not just about the job fair aspect of it. It is all the way down. They can get more information. So if you see, they had a whole help desk for the event platform, for this information, the Education Association. So you want to think it's not just about job fairs, like they could have resources or anything like that as well, right in the system. All right. So we got, one question in here is, what way is it different from, other online virtual platforms? That's a great question, and if you really dig down into that question, what does an in-person event and a virtual event have in common? They connect one person with another person. They connect a potential teacher with a teacher. They connect a networking company with a candidate looking to network, right? So when you really dig down, what it does differently with what we do differently, one is the booking a time with the recruiter. So that is one thing that we have. They don't have to wait in line. So they don't have to wait in a queue for 15, 20, 30 minutes and not really know when they're talking with somebody. They book a direct time with that recruiter. We also have the job postings that are submitted right through the platform. And if you can see, they can have all of the job postings submitted right through here. Once somebody, and I'm going to show you in the dashboard here in a minute, this is all tracked as well. So you as a host, you're going to know how many resumes were submitted, how many chat messages happened, how many video calls happened, all of the analytics that are out there, which is more analytics than any other platform out there. We track almost 200 analytics of pieces of data that we track that you can download and export as well. So you're getting a much more, but the number one thing that is different than us, than all other platforms, I want you to look at the name of this up here, NFA Dallas ISD, Dallas ISD, Dallas ISD. These 3 events were by the same host, and they were all held yesterday. On our platform, the unlimited platform, the package they have with unlimited events allows you to have multiple events at the same time. You don't have to wait 14 days between events. You don't have to go in and say, hey, can I put this on your schedule? Yesterday alone, I think we had 14 events. We don't make people put it on a schedule. They can choose whenever they want. They're going to have a host, and I'm going to show you here in a second, that you can go in and you can create your events. Now, not just the unlimited, what the best thing and the thing that we get more awards and more accolades from is our client success team. We do this on a daily basis. You don't. We have an entire team that is ran by Glenn and Jordan. That's our client success team. Once you become a client of Premier Virtuals, the client success team then reaches out, sets up your initial call and your initial training to help you set up. We don't just give you, here's your login information, go create your event. We're here every step of the way. Not only do we help train you and your team, we also will do trainings for your organizations. It's not just here's a training video to go out and watch to come into the event. They will do a training video. And if you want one, let's say you do an event on a monthly basis and you want to have different people come in and you want to have a monthly training for the new organizations, you can. We've also done Instagram Lives, webinars, trainings for candidates as well. So you have a client success team that is behind you all the way. And the great thing about it too is even during your events, they're going to go in, make sure if there's anybody has any questions, they're there. We also have a help desk that's built in so people can go in and type their questions. We have the training videos, there's everything right in the organizations and attendees. So we really make sure that you understand it and train it. And we also have live support staff during every event. We did a worldwide event a couple months ago, and we had live staff even in the middle of the night because every hour a new organization was coming in, a new cancer coming in because it was a worldwide event. It was a great event. But what was happening is you always have to have, the good news is nobody needed us, but we're going to have live staff for all of your events. So you're not out there alone. You can have it anytime you want to call. Hey, Jordan. Hey, Glenn, I just got a question. Can you jump on a call? You have access to their calendar at all times, right? Their calendar is always there. You can have that. Plus, we also have the customer support team, plus obviously our business solutions team as well. So, all right, we got another question here. All right. So I'm gonna move this. Zach, leave this question in. I'm gonna move this question because it's talking about how to help bring in more clients and stuff like that. I'm going to put that towards the end of this seminar. So, all right. So back to this Dallas NSD one. This was an event. This was one of the 3 events that company put on yesterday. And if you see, they had an opening keynote speaker that they had. Then they had professional workshops throughout the event. So if you could see, they could log in to each one of these workshops that they could go into. So everybody had their own workshop. They had internship interviews. They had a lunch and networking. This is where they had their college fair. So now the students could come in, they're looking at the internships, they're getting some networking, they're getting some workshops, and then they can talk directly to all of the schools right here as well. It's great to see UNT there. My niece and nephew actually go to school there. So, and then they have, a closing remarks as well. And then they have the help desk. So we're going to come in. I just saw a question about typical attendance. You're going to see that here in a second as well. So this is a live dashboard. Okay. So what you're looking at here is the average event. You see this event had 236 registered candidates, 177 logged in. So that's really good for 75. Now, every event is a little bit different. The largest event ever done on our platform had 17,000 job seekers. That's not typical, but that was a statewide Massachusetts event. They had 1,700 companies. That's not typical. Somewhere between 100 to 500 is pretty typical for the events that they have in there. We'll see events with 1,000, 2,000 people, but that's not usually one small school district. You're looking usually in that 100 to 300, 400 range, for the attendance in the events. So what this live dashboard shows you here is this kind of shows you when the people were logging in, when it was busy. Here, the attendees, this is how many registered, how many are logged in, and the participation percentage. Same with organizations. And then it shows you how many resumes were submitted. So this event yesterday for an internship expo had 441 resumes submitted. That's pretty good. Then you have your top jobs that are right here. So the top jobs that people were submitting their resume to, you see internships 49, summer intern 48. So these are all the companies that they have. Top booths, these are the booths that were visited the most. So you can really see all that data that's in here. Another one here is these are all of our reports that we have in here. So this event report gives you a summary of everything that we have. How many each company, it breaks down how many video calls they had, how many chat messages, how many booth views, how many resume submissions, all of that information. It gives you as a whole, and then it breaks down by each individual company. And these reports are all exportable right at the end of the event. You don't have to wait for the other platforms to send it to you like you do with some of my competitors. And this goes back to the question is, what makes it a little bit different? All of this you have access at all times. The jobs report, which is probably one of my favorite reports out there, shows every company, every job, and who submitted the resume. So you as a host, you can look and say, okay, here's who submitted the resumes to our elementary schools. Here's our middle schools. You have all of that access directly to this information. And then the job seekers report, this shows every booth that they visited, how many chat messages, all of that information is in here as well. And then it has all of their experience, which I'm going to show you in a minute what that means. We have all candidates we believe are more than just a resume. They can put their experience directly in there. And then resumes, this is a hard copy of all of their resumes as well. So I'm going to show you the organizations. And this is something, again, this is live dashboard. You see every company that's in here. You see that they have 100% of their profile completed. So like if you looked in here and you saw, oh, they're missing jobs and this is a job, you could reach out to that company and say, hey, you're missing the jobs. So this is how many jobs they had posted, how many total available positions, how many booth visits, how many conversations, how many video calls that they had right in here. You see this one had 56 conversations, 47 video calls. This one down here had 21 conversations, 14 video calls. And then you can see how many resumes. So when you're looking at that, there's a lot of data that is in here as well. So let me just skip over that one just because it has a lot of their information in, but it shows the exact information as well, breakdown right from a candidate standpoint of view. So if you can see, there's a lot of information that is in here. And again, this kind of had their keynote speaker. This is where they had their internships that they could go and go directly with this one. And then they had a help desk. We really like it when somebody has a help desk in their event, just because somebody may have a question about the organization, about the host, about one of the companies that's in there. They can go in and they can ask that question directly. So this is kind of the last one. Again, this is another My CTE internship. They had an opening, they had a briefing, they had their internship, and again, they had their help desk. So if you see, everything is very customizable from the lobby aspect and to what you have in here. So let's come back here. I'm going to come into this Dallas one right here. And we're going to look at their live dashboard. So again, here's where you had 316 people, 266 logged in. So if you see, it's kind of the same right here, the positions, here are the top jobs that they had. One thing I didn't get into is this registration. This kind of shows when people were registering. So if you're tracking, if you're spending money, if you're doing anything on here, is what you can now do is you can really track, okay, there were 76 attendees registered on this day. What did you do? Did you send out an email? Did you put something on social media? What did you do to get those candidates? And that's what this is for, is to really track all of the organizations that are in here. And now I'm going to get in and I'm going to kind of show you a little bit more. Before I go in and show you kind of a quick little setup of the event, of what else, some things that we have in here, is there any questions about how your peers are using it in the school district? All right. So I'm going to show you this event right here. And creating an event is very simple. It's kind of a step-by-step process of naming the event. Again, this is all customizable. These are questions. Now, this is very important. Is think of when somebody is registering for an event or you're going somewhere, you can ask customized questions. What's your degree in? Do you already have your teacher certification? What state is your teacher certification in? You know, are you looking for an internship? These are all customizable questions that you can put in our system. You can have single answer, multiple choice, text input. yes or no, you can customize your questions. So, and these are all text-based questions. Now, here's another thing that goes back to the question of how are we different than somebody else out there? We are the only virtual software that has our own video interview software. I'm sure a lot of you have seen Spark Hire, phenomenal company, HireVue, where it's, you know, you send a list of video questions out to them, they record their video answers and come back. Well, we built our own. So you have in the system is you can come in and use all of our video interviews. You can use our questions, or if you wanted to create your own questions, you can create that all right through the platform. So not only do you have the ability to get text-based answers in the analytics and data that you're looking for, you can also get video-based questions if you want. Now, you don't have to use that, but it has the ability. Again, we're the only one that has our own video interview software. Customizing it, you can customize what you want your lobby to go into. This hiring metrics tool, again, we're the only virtual platform that tracks hires after the event as well, and you can turn this on or off. So we work with a lot of workforce development boards that want to know who got hired out of an event. So I'm going to show you this hiring metrics tool here in a second, but what this does is this goes out to your organizations. Here's who submitted the resumes to you. Who did you hire? And they just have to click on that box. So I'm going to show you that here in a second. Again, we really want to make sure that you understand your ROI and you can track everything through it. We all know we live in a data and analytical world. Data drives everything. Now, the good thing too is when you guys looked at some of the other things, when I get to the experience, if you saw, oh my gosh, we had a lot of elementary school teachers that were here. Well, maybe you want to have an event specifically for elementary teachers so that you can now go in and say, okay, I'm going to take this data that I have that I was given from Premier Virtual, and I'm going to tailor my next events specifically based on what the analytics and data say. So this is just your landing or registration page that you're setting up. You see, it's very customizable that you have. You can put branding, you can put anything in here. You can make whichever fields you want required. So let's just say you want like job postings. You saw some of the events that were on the platform did not have jobs. They were resources. So you don't want to make jobs mandatory because those places don't have jobs. But if you make jobs mandatory, the companies have to upload all of their jobs. Now here too, these are YouTube videos that go right on a landing page that I'll show you here in a second. You can, when you get that candidate and they're coming to your landing or registration page, not only can they read stuff, but they can watch a video. Maybe you put a little 30-second video on there. You know, we've had the principal, we've actually had the governor of Florida and the governor of Massachusetts created videos when they did statewide job fairs on our platform. So when that candidate got to it, they got to watch either, you know, one of the governors, we've had CEOs on there, principals on there that you can go in and really tailor so that it's like when that person is looking at your landing page, why do they want to hit register? What is it that they're going for there? And again, you can put your marketing, you can put your Facebook Pixel, Google Tag Manager, all of that directly that's in the system. And this is how you can customize all of your things. So everything that you saw from up here, all of these that you saw here and here, that is all customizable right here. So you can make it however you want to make it, or you don't have to make any of those. So if you see in here, right, we actually have a search function. So if you see here, I got this job title. So let's just say I want to come down here and I'm looking for middle school teachers. So you see the background of all the companies. We're going to come down here. We're going to go to this physical education one, apply that, and boom. It goes right into just the companies that are hiring for you. So if you were only looking for physical education jobs, you don't have to look at every company. You can actually search it right within the platform. You can go down here and then come and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to be in Hemingway, South Carolina. Now it drops it all the way down to there. So again, now you can come in here, clear these, clear this one. And then again, you can come into the city and go everywhere you want, right? Obviously, this is one in just one location, but you can see I can now tailor my search. Think of what you do, what a candidate does on a job board, they can do directly within the virtual platform. So back here to editing the event, we're going to come up here. This is what we call the hiring metrics tool. So we come in here. This is where I see every single company. I see then who submitted their resume, and I can click either in progress, interviewed, hired, or didn't hire. So we track that data. This goes out to the orgs click on that button. So you as the host know. A lot of times at the head of the school district, you may want to know who gets hired from each school out of the events. It can all be tracked directly right here in the system. And this is what I was talking about as a registration page. This is what's all customizable for you. So you have your banner, you have your information that's here, you have your event videos if you choose to have them. And then you see here is a timer over here that says the event was finished. But you also have all of your schedule that is right here as well. So like during the event, the schedule of that event, when it's open, when it's live, or anything like that. And the good thing about these events as well is we can come in here, and I didn't really get into this, but you can have what's called early access. So a candidate can come in early access to an event, see the companies, book the times with the recruiters. So on that day of that job fair, they log in, they talk to the companies they want to, and then they leave. Efficiency and effectiveness is really what you see here as well. And then we have the reveal attendees. So you can have it where the organizations can see the attendees before an event and go in, click on their profile, see their profile that I'm going to show you right now, and they can invite them directly to their booth. They can book a time. So now your recruiters are making it efficient for them to say, hey, here are the 10 people I want to talk to. I want to invite them to my booth so that they can come in and book time directly. So, and you have complete access to all of that. And I know this looks like a lot of information that's there, but this is what my team really helps you with, trains you, and make sure that you understand everything. And then we have email reminders that go out, so you don't have to download a list, put it up into, MailJet or Mailgun or Constant Contact and send out a reminder. We do all of that for you. We do all the heavy lifting for you. So that's here. I'm going to jump over to an organization real quick. So if anybody has any questions about, kind of a host setting up an event, what it is, let me know. If not, I am going to jump over to the organization side.
What better way to start 2023 than with an all-in-one pipeline solution to help you?
All right. So organizations, everybody has a dashboard that's in here. It shows their events that they have. It shows their information about their organization. You see here, we got this little guy right here. We are ADA and 508 compliant. So anything that anybody needs, we have all of that information that is right in here. So when they come in, first thing is an organization that comes in, they go through a setup wizard. Step 1, upload this. Step 2. So it walks them through this setup wizard to go. So it's very easy, and really it looks a little different because it says step 1 and do this, but this is where it sets up their profile about their organization. And you see, this is all copy and pasted. And then they can put all of their social media links if they want. And we know not every school has a social media link, but they can put all of that directly right in here. So whatever they want to show their organizations, they can. They come in, they can have all of their recruiters that are in here. Maybe it's their principals, maybe it's the assistant principals. They can have all of those logged in because it's all into one booth. So they're all recruiting on a one booth. Then they put their job postings, very easy for their job postings. If you see here, they could put teacher. So what we have is we have a list that's in here, and this list that we have, the candidates can search by that. Right? So it's that AI-based system where it's matching. If the candidate types in teacher, they're going to see everybody who's teacher. But what we also know is sometimes organizations may have unique titles. So they can change the title of their job, but it'll still come under the teacher aspect of it. You can put all of the locations you want. If it's a remote, you can. How many positions, this salary, this is all a text base. and then status, active or disabled. All that is, you know, maybe 1 month you hired all of your elementary teachers. The next month you have 2 positions available. You can make it active again, and you can disable when you don't. Job description goes here. This is where you just copy and paste your job description. They continue, review it, complete it, and you add your next job. So it's very simple for them to add. And then when they get to their booths, the top 3 things, these are all customized links. So they can put whatever they want in the title and then the link. So think about when I'm a job seeker and I'm going into a platform or going into a company, what do I want them to see? You know, have we had some stuff in the news? You know, what have we had so that we can really drive there? And then they can create their booth. They can customize what they want their booth to look like. Click on that. And then they can click on different avatars. So they really have a choice of what they want it to look like and, you know, what they want that avatar to look like. So it's very customizable for each organization to make it there. Then they can have their schedule. This is where they can come in and they create their calendar. So if I can come in here, today's the 30th, I want to come in here and I want to say, okay, this is the time of the event. This is when I want to book one-on-one interviews. But if you see, it's very easy. Is I can put my calendar, I can put my time that that I want to meet one-on-one. If you saw, some of the organizations said book a time with the recruiter, some of them didn't. So this really makes it so, let's say that it's an 8-hour job fair. I would never say, hey, have an 8-hour job fair, but just for easy access, we'll say we have an 8-hour job fair. Recruiter 1 does the first 2 hours, recruiter 2 does the second 2, recruiter 3 the next, and recruiter 4 the last hour. They can each go in and put their time in for those 2 hours that they have, so that when the candidates come in, they're choosing, the recruiter that they want to speak with. All right. And then when they come into the events, you come in here. Once we go in and we want to access the booth, this is their virtual hiring room. So if you see, there's no current visitors in here, but anybody that was registered, I could come in here, click on this candidate. I can see the candidate's picture. I can see a little bit about the candidate. I can see their questions. I can look at their resumes. If they have that video resume, it would show right here. I can look at all of their experience right here, and I could invite him directly to the room. Also, you see here is they can rank the candidates. They can leave notes about the candidates. Great fit, need to move them to, an in-person interview. They can put all of that information directly right here. This is where they could search. So remember the search function that we had earlier. This is where they can search by the candidates as well. So the search function is in here. This is where if I want to come in, I can see this candidate that is right in here. We've already spoke with this candidate. You can see that's in here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to the candidate side of things. So anybody have any questions about what your schools or organizations would see within the platform? All right, let me bring you over here to my job seeker profile. So again, we have the dashboard. This is my profile. There's a step-by-step wizard that goes through. When they edit the profile, again, step 1, they're going to fill out their name. I can fill out my job title. I can put a bio in here. So almost like that header to a resume that they have that's in here. I can come in here. Whoops. I can come in here, and this is the experience. So we know busy job fairs, sometimes that recruiters can't look at a resume, but they can look at experience. So they can come in here, teacher certification. So all of the teacher certifications are right in here. So we worked with actually one of your associations that are out there to get all of the associations. So now I could come in here, I could click what we have. I already have mine filled out. So they can put 20 different experiences that are in here. So if you see, we have pretty much everything, accounting, finance, everything that they have with an experience is right within here, within the system. So Candidates put in all of theirs. Here's the training and teaching. So you see, here's all the types of teachers that they have as well. So not only we have certifications, we have all the different types of teachers, and they can put that right into their experience. So now the organizations can search for that right back in here in the experience. So how efficient is that for you as an organization to be able to search for the right type of candidates that have the right certifications or the right backgrounds? Very easy when you have the experience tab. So back over here to the candidates filled out. I did my profile, put everything in here. Now I'm going to come back here to the events. I'm going to go back into the event side of things, and I'm going to access the lobby. Again, choosing on where you want to go. You can have all of this information. Clicking into a booth. I see about the company. Great. I want to move forward. I look at the job positions. Again, here, I already applied to this position. You see the application is already sent in. I can now book a time with a recruiter. So it already says I had a time. So I'm going to show you this so you can see what the times look like. Oops. So you see, I had a meeting here. I'm going to just cancel this meeting so that it's not there. We're going to jump back over here to the attendee side. So if you see here, this is what it looks like from a candidate. So now I can come in and I can book a time. You see this said that this was canceled, so they get a notification. But if I want to book a time, are you sure you want to book a time? I confirm it. It's going to be right here. Now I have this in here, and now it's in my schedule as well. And it's also in the organization schedule. This is where you can see a little bit about the organizations that they have in here. So this is where you're looking at all of the information. Again, what you think about when you want to see your organization, and when that candidate comes in, what do you want them to see about your organization? This is why these customs links are so important, because a candidate can get their information right through here. They can research, then they can come in here. I can send a message. So now, as a recruiter can send a message first, or a candidate. Again, there's no waiting in long queues. They can go in, they can start a chat, they can book a time with a recruiter. It makes it so you can have book times or an open job fair all at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to jump back over here to the organization just real quick. If you can see, I now have a message from Steve that's right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off my Zoom camera real quick. And I'm going to see, I look at Steve, I look at, the cans. Okay, these are great questions. These are what I want from here. I look at the experience. Perfect. I'm now going to send Steve a video. If you see, we can do one-on-one calls or video calls. So you can do a webinar, group call, or anything like here. So once we get in here, I'm going to jump back over here to the attendee. You see, they've been invited to a video conference. So I'm going to join that call. So you see how easy it is for them to jump right back in and out of the into a video call. Another thing, again, we could have a video conference. So this is where you could choose a group call. You want everybody to see each other, or you want a presentation. The great thing here is you can start it now, or you could schedule for the future. You saw some of the other organizations. What they had in there is they had like at certain times there were workshops. So they scheduled it for the future. So when those candidates came in. So we're just going to start this one now. Now, I'm not going to start another video, but you can see I could add anybody from my team in here. It highlights, they go above the line. And then I can invite any of these candidates as well. So I can invite anybody that I wanted to. That's going to go in here. Now, I'm not going to start this again because you've seen it, but I want you to see down here, I could add more participants if I wanted to. I could come in here. I could see all of my participants. You see blue is they're in, red means they're not in the system. I could share my screen just like you can in other platforms. I can record it, and we have a text message that is based right in here in the chat as well. So this is private compared to over here. So it doesn't put everything together. This is only a chat within this video. So if you can see, it's very easy for the candidates. It's very easy for all of them to be able to interact. And the last thing is right here is each candidate can leave notes about a company. They can rank companies and they can update their status as well. So they don't have to take notes. We leave all of their information directly in the system, and they have a My Journey tab. So for each event, any action that was taken, any booth that they visited, if an organization took an action and said they were interested in, that hired, interviewed, it shows right here. And then they have their chat transcripts that are all right here. So everything is tracked from an attendee standpoint of view, an organization standpoint of view, and a host standpoint of view. So hopefully that answered all of the questions about how your peers are using the platform, how to set up the platform, how to put anything out there. Now I'm going to get back to some of the questions because I know there's some questions about, marketing that we have. Okay. So one of the questions, typical attendance, we answered that one. I already answered that, right? You're somewhere between 100 to 400, depending the area and everything that as well. So it says, I'm part of a leading staffing firm in the Bay Area. In what way will it help to bring more clients? How to connect client corporate hire needs? How to build my contacts and everything. I love that. And I'm going to say, this isn't about, right, which this webinar was really for with school districts, but I love the recruiter aspect. I love that you're on here because I can answer that question. Think about this from a recruiting standpoint of view. If you did a job fair just for you and your organization, how many job recs do you have at one time? How many companies are you recruiting for at one time? Think of doing a job fair and you host it and you have just your recruiting firm, but you have all of the different jobs that are out there that you have. Now you market it to get the candidates in. You get that candidate in, Johnny or Susie candidate, you get them in, they can look at it. Maybe you could say, hey, here are 3 good jobs for you. Instead of just one, they can look at kind of all of the jobs that you have. What does that do? That gives you a better chance to place them, which means your ROI would be even better, right? You could go out, right? We actually, have an ability to white label for recruiting firms that you could go out and you could do job fairs for your clients all on this platform. Again, there's a white label option for that as well. So you can host that, bringing in your clients and say, hey, I'm going to do a virtual job fair for you. You want to charge them? That's on you guys, right? How much, more revenue can you make by helping your clients more, right? Your goal is to place this candidate here with this organization here. How do you do that, right? It gives more access. We all know remote work is big right now. We all know workplace culture. I just spoke about that. I just put in I'm speaking at a conference in New Orleans and my team is speaking at a conference in Wyoming, both next month. And it's all on workplace culture, quiet quitting, quiet firing, how to build that workplace culture so you don't have that stuff. You don't have those issues. You don't have people that are quiet quitting out there. By opening up and virtual, and I don't care if it is a school district, a recruiting firm, a private company. I am from small town Wisconsin. I don't want to live in small town Wisconsin anymore. I love it. I go visit it. I love my family there. I like to live in South Florida. But if, let's just say you are in Florida and you have a job fair and those people, we all know people right now are loving to move to Florida, you can't come to an in-person event, but virtual opens up the world. So that goes there, and again, with any virtual platform, you're going to be able to open up how you recruit and where you draw candidates from. Now, on the marketing side of things, we're kind of running close to the end of time, and that's a kind of a long process. If you want, you're going to get an email from my team tomorrow, kind of a follow-up from here. If you want to get on a call and really we can show you how we can help you market it, how we can help drive traffic to your events for you, just reply to that email, let them know, hey, I want to set up a marketing call. Myself, my director of marketing, and one of my business solutions teams will get in and we'll really kind of dig down deep of what you're looking to accomplish and how we can help you with that. Is there any other questions that we have out there? All right. I appreciate you spending time. I'm going to give you a few minutes of your day back here. Thank you for staying on this webinar. Hopefully this helped you, show you why virtual works. We know we're not the only virtual platform out there, but hopefully, even if you are using somebody else or you don't want to use virtual, hopefully this gave you some ideas to really see and to open your eyes to say, virtual is the future along with hybrid. It's not just about in-person, it's not just about virtual, but how can we connect this all together so you can drive the best candidates from wherever they're at to your school district, staffing firm, wherever it's at. But thank you all for joining the webinar today, and we look forward to hopefully talking with you all soon. Thank you and have a great day.